Well, here we are again.
Finally back at it.
Malden Malder. This time its own show, not just a side thing.
Yep, we got enough funding and we got the okay to get our own show.
Yeah, and by funding, we embezzled company funds, and by getting the okay, we held the higher ups at gunpoint.
Yeah. But I feel like the higher ups were in okay hands,
Yeah, but we're here, we're back, and we've got some stuff to mauled about.
especially regarding recent happenings.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like
So
how could you be this stupid?
we got stuff to mold about, but where are we gonna start?
Uh, let's see. How about I'm going to start off with 343 Industries. This is kind of already old news already, but who cares? This is our show. We talk about what we want. Um, so, uh, 343 Industries came out with their sort of basically their roadmap and future plans for season 3 of Halo Infinite and also and all sorts of stuff. But basically, season 3 has been delayed from coming out this October, which would have come out right around the same time as uh, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Roman numeral 2 would be coming out. So it's like this new season would have started a week after a whole new game would have come out. So it's just like, oh, that was some poor planning on our part. But then they're like, all right, so instead, we're pushing season 3 to March of 2023. And so we can at least hold people over until then. We've got the winter update coming out November, which is just all going to be. Let's see. Let me find this roadmap. Where's this goddamn update? Let's see. Halo. So, looking at the roadmap here, coming out was supposed to be coming out November is the beta for Forge, campaign network co-op, so you can play co-op with your friends properly online, and mission replay, which should have already been part of the game since the beginning. Um, but they've canned split screen co-op, something that's been a staple for Halo ever since day one. Then they're going to have a 30 tier, a mini battle pass with 30 tiers with stuff that's already in the game's files, but you couldn't get from the first season, which is all the Halo Reach cosmetics, like the security shoulders and like Emil's kukri knife and the CQB and CQC helmets and the proper Mark V helmet and two maps that have been made by the developers in Forge, um, and then as well as Match XP Beta. Let me repeat myself: Match XP Beta. Something that's been in these multiplayer first-person shooter games since like 2007 with Call of Duty 4. Is in beta. So you get XP for completing a match just to go so that it can go towards the battle pass and not just having to do challenges. And then there's going to
Uh,
be two free events with like their own mini passes. Winter Contingency 2 for December and something called Joint Fire for January. And then there's going to be a new mode called Covert One Flag, which is a one flag capture the flag mode with one side having a special where it's like a defender or something like that. One side has a certain loadout with invisibility, and the other side has a loadout with what's called the sensor darts or whatever, where you can like have a little bubble that kind of gives you a radar, and then some quality of life improvements. So that's coming November. And what were you going to say?
And that's supposed to hold people off for about 4 months.
Yeah. And then we have season 3 Echoes Within coming March 7th, and there's going to be two more new maps, just two. One arena map for the 4v4 and then one big team battle map. And they're both just like UNSC bases or whatever. A new weapon, which is the M392 Bandit, which is basically just the DMR from Halo Reach, but they removed the scope. And basically it's just going to be more of a marksman weapon, but like the Commando, which was in the base game, but better because it's semi-auto and more accurate or whatever. A new equipment called the Shroud Screen, which is just basically a smoke grenade where if you go inside it, it'll no one can see you inside of it and you can't see anyone out of it, but also you can't be detected on motion sensors. Another 100 tier battle pass with what looks to be the new armor core is going to be themed after the SPI armor, which is a suit that's kind of been in Halo lore for a while, and we never got to see it in game until like MCC for Halo 3.
Gotta love them battle passes.
Yeah. And then custom games browser, after we get Forge and the ability to make maps and custom modes on those maps, then only then, months after, are we going to get custom game browser so we can actually go and view these modes. A new narrative event, which is just continuing the whole multiplayer story, which kind of doesn't really go anywhere. Updates for the Forge beta, quality of life improvements again, new in-game reporting. I'm glad that that's a huge priority for them, is just in-game reporting. Oh, someone called me a racial slur or something like that. Oh, I can report them. Or someone's hacking in this game with a really awful anti-cheat. I can report them finally. New modes called VIP and Escalation. A new Fracture event, which is one of those like non-canon like armors that are from like a different Halo timeline where it's like themed after something. Like season 1 had Tenrai, which is like samurai themed Spartan armor, and then this one's Entrenched, which is like sort of diesel punk, steampunk, like almost, I wouldn't say Warhammer fully, but like kind of like World War One, but Spartans or something like that.
Back in our day, we only had a few armor variants.
Yeah, back in our day, if you wanted to customize your thing, all you had was just the helmet, shoulders, and the chest.
And colors.
Yeah, and your colors, but but that's supposed to be what was supposed to be the whole thing. That was their update, and they were just completely slammed. Like the game's been review bombed. It's everyone, like, there's been so many videos of people talking about this, and then even the hashtag Fire343 went trending. Because people were just like, you've had 6 years to work on Halo Infinite, 5 plus the 1 year delay they had in 2020 to work on this game, and it came out and it's so bare bones compared to what Bungie has made with their other games, and then people have gone on to go on 343's track record of how like Halo 4, it's like huge, is so divisive because of the art style change and how much the multiplayer was just like, oh, let's copy Call of Duty, where you can choose your loadout of weapons with perks and stuff, and have kill streaks where you can get the Needler or the Energy Sword if you get a certain amount of kills, and they'll just drop down these little weapon pods. And then Halo 5 was like, oh, now let's try to copy Titanfall and have the ability to use all these advanced movement things and like all these other little like special abilities. And also the fact that they dropped the bomb so hard with Halo 5's campaign and its story. And the thing is, I didn't even know this, but Halo Infinite's multiplayer was originally going to be a hero shooter.
Aren't we past that? It's not 2016 anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, but apparently there was going to be like it was apparently going to be a hero shooter with like ultimates and special modes or whatever like that. It's like why? And and then supposedly certain affinity has been working, or it still has been working on the supposed battle royale for Halo Infinite. Oh yeah, also side note, the Last Spartan Standing, the mode that came out at the beginning of season 2, which is basically like a light battle royale mode where you kind of have multiple, where you have like limited lives and free for all and all that. They got rid of it. They got rid of it because no one was playing it. People were only playing Last Spartan Standing because of the sort of event passes the little event passes that have been going on for the whole Lone Wolf story. And after those passed, no one played those modes, so they literally got rid of it from the playlists. Which, speaking of, let me get on about the whole the main the little story thing for Infinite, or for Infinite's multiplayer, at least starting with season 2, is there's these characters that are called lone wolves, but they work in a pack of lone wolves.
That's redundant.
Yeah. Like the whole, I think the whole thing was kind of meant to be, they're kind of like modeled after Noble Six, because Noble Six was a lone wolf, right? Which, yeah, I get what you're trying to go after there, but it's not making any sense when you word it that way.
Lone wolves?
Yeah. And the whole story is just kind of, it's kind of like it's there, but they haven't gone anywhere with it. Like, they have these new characters, completely new characters that we're supposed to care about, but yet they don't do anything. They just, like, for season 2, there's like these like extra, these like cutscenes they had for these events, and it's like literally one of them is just the Spartan chick is just talking to you while she's shooting an assault rifle at a range, and she's just talking to you about working together or something like that. And
so Call of Duty.
yeah, she's just sitting there talking to you the player about working as a team, all while the mode that's associated with these cutscenes is about you playing by yourself in a free for all mode. Which is kind of dumb. But yeah, so 343 got hit with a lot of backlash, and so it's like, hey, Microsoft, you got to do something about these guys. But it's also even people. It's also people have calling into question. Oh, what?
Yep.
It has people calling into question Microsoft and their thing about about their leadership and letting 343 just kind of get away with all of this. And funny enough, right after this mode came out, right after the announcement, they then have this event called the Yappening, which is another kind of free event thing. But if you look at the contents of it, it looks like this was meant to come out in Easter, because like you've got cosmetics that are all kind of like spring related, and you literally have a an armor thingy that puts like holographic bunny ears on your head. So it's like, this is supposed to be an Easter thing. Why didn't it come out back in March? But they have it out now, and it actually has some fun modes, like Big Team Battle Fiesta, or Shoddy Snipers, and Sprockets, which is the skewer, and the rocket launchers, and that's actually been fun. But so far, that's like the only new thing. And yeah. Uh, Meanwhile, MCC's actually getting like some fun, new updates and stuff, like mod tools for Halo Reach and new armors for Halo 2 Anniversary multiplayer and all this other sorts of new stuff. And then almost conveniently, but I'm still on the fence about it. Bonnie Ross, the CEO and founder for 343 Industries, has stepped down, and it because it's apparently because of family health emergencies. Which, if it really is the case, then my condolences. I hope the best for her and her family, but it's just gonna be convenient that under her leadership, a lot of stuff has gone really bad for Halo, such as these mediocre to really bad games. The TV show, which 343 themselves had a hand in helping Paramount make the show, and then Halo Infinite and its launch, and it's like their whole intentions was to bring Halo out to a broader audience, which basically means alienate the original hardcore fans to bring in a whole bunch of new ones just for more money and all that. But apparently the one who's taken her place as the leader for 343 is apparently the same guy that has been in charge of the MCC turning around and becoming a much better game, because apparently when the MCC launched, it was actually really horrible. Because it's a game that has right now has up to 5 different engines on it of different games. But if he hopefully, since MCC has been able to turn around under his watch, hopefully maybe some good can come with Infinite, because they also showed off all the stuff you can do in Forge mode, and it looks really impressive. Like, you can do all sorts of crazy stuff with it.
Only time will tell.
Yeah. Oh, here's another thing. So when they made the when they had that update video, because it was literally just a video of showing, it was 3 guys. One was Joseph Staten, who has been a story writer for Halo ever since the Bungie days, since Halo 1. And then he had these 2 other guys talking. They're going all back and forth about the stuff and changes they want to do. And one of them was straight up like, one of our priorities for Halo Infinite is so that it can be competitive. And he straight up said that ever since Combat Evolved, Halo has been a competitive game, right in front of Joseph Staten. Which, no, maybe MLG started with Halo 2 and it got really big with Halo 3, but it wasn't competitive back in the first game. You literally just had 4 guys playing the multiplayer on split screen and one Xbox, or if you system linked multiple Xbox systems together and you had a whole bunch of friends, it was literally just the whole intention was a party game. Halo was always a party game.
Oh yeah, ever since the beginning, the first game in the series, it's always been competitive. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And it's also strange for the fact that Joseph Staten himself was the one to come out and say that they were canceling the split screen campaign, local campaign, like couch co-op campaign. That they're we had to divert resources from this, so we're canceling that. And he had to say it really quick so that they can move on to the next thing. So it's strange how convenient that they had to have him, the original, one of the original big heads of Halo in the beginning, come out and say that. And here's the thing though, people have found out to play split screen campaign by glitching the game, and it works. You can literally have 4 people playing the campaign on the same console. So it's in there.
And you mean to tell me that, oh yeah, we had to divert resources from local co-op campaign. You're telling me that you had to get rid of that and like over the internet online co-op campaign is easier to implement.
Yeah, it's like I'm not sure if it's a thing that it's because of the Xboxes because oh yeah, this game's not only out for the current Xbox, but it's also for the previous one, for the one like it's like they haven't even stated exactly why there's been issues with it. Like, is it because of console limitations or something like that? They said nothing, just that they had to make that change and they moved on and just started talking about the rest of the stuff. It's like, what? What's
Remember
going
when
on?
remember when there were two versions of like games at the end of like the last gen's life cycle? Like there were two versions. There's the PS4 and there's the PS5 version, or even with PS3, some titles there's PS3, or you could get on PS4.
Yeah, it's like I don't know what sort of issue there is that they just had to unless they're doing some sort of weird thing where it's like, oh yeah, oh hey, guess what? Surprise! You can now do local couch co-op Halo Infinite campaign. Yay! Aren't you so proud of us, guys? And then it's just like
Aren't you happy it came in like several updates later?
several updates later, a year after the game came out, because by the time the winter update comes out, that'll pretty much be a year after the multiplayer was launched. And
I
remember,
think
the multiplayer came out as a beta, and then as as soon as it was out as a beta, it's like join in, hop into the multiplayer beta. Oh yeah, also we have season 1, we have a battle pass already ready for this multiplayer beta.
I think that's just the direction games are going in. You get early access, you get in the beta, and hey, there's a battle pass.
Like, what happened to the days of betas where it was like months and months before the game would come out. You could play test the beta, and then so that you could give the developers your thoughts and about bugs or balances and all this stuff, so that they can take that information and apply those changes to the final release. Now it's just, oh yeah, no, just play the game early. That's it.
Same thing with multiverses. Like they had a pre pass that was like few tiers, nothing too much, but like technically speaking, we're still in the multiplayer beta. It hasn't released fully, and they already are in season one
What the fuck?
with no end date of the multiplayer beta. Like actually confirmed, people are yeah, but people are asking like, oh, when's the multiplayer beta going in? There's no date in sight, so I'm like, so when's the actual game gonna launch? I don't even. I, there might be a actual date. I haven't kept up with the game news like since,
Mm-hmm.
but like a whole season one, a whole like battle pass in the multiplayer beta that's still essentially going on, and they're adding
Yeah.
characters, so might as well just announce, oh, it's out, it's out. Like, why is it still considered a multiplayer beta at this point?
It just makes no sense. It makes no sense that you're just like, oh yeah, it's just so that they can hide behind the excuse of when there's problems with the game. Oh no, it's just in beta. It'll be fixed in the final release. It's like, this is the final release. Don't be pulling that shit. Don't be pulling the rug over our eyes. Like, honestly, if have you played any of like the beta any of the COD betas like before they came out, and then played the final release, and then it's just like it's the same. There's like no
I've
changes.
like besides like sound changes, the Cold War beta when it was out.
Yeah, it played literally the same. I mean, I didn't even realize that like Cold War's alpha. because I know I played that. I didn't realize that that had a different reload animations, but I know for a fact that like aiming and like when you use optics and stuff was completely different. Like for some reason, when in the beta and then the final release, they just like they straight up just zoom out, or like they like they like change the FOV for whenever you have like a red dot or something on your weapon. It just like zooms out completely, so it's just like it's like sticking out all the way instead of just like being like up closer to your face or something. It's really weird. And
But hey, we don't know anything about game development, so
right, yeah, who knows? But yeah, so right now, like if you want to enjoy any Halo, I definitely recommend the MCC, because that is right now the best way to experience um, all of the Halos together. And thankfully, it doesn't have Halo 5. Thankfully, um,
I haven't played a Halo game in like I think more than a decade, and I going back to like a Halo game and playing it, like yeah, I was rusty on everything because I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot this was this way, but it was fun.
yeah. With Infinite, it's just like it feels like they've got something there, but they're not letting it reach its full potential because they're just so held back on all the sorts of stuff. But then if you think about it, wait, um, this game, like it's like wait, this is this is because they had to basically overhaul a lot of things. Apparently, the campaign was going to be completely different before they had to delay it in 2020, and that kind of led to the multiplayer ending up in its current state of bare bones, and also the fact that the multiplayer was originally coined to be a hero shooter because all 343 wants to do is just chase trends. First they want to make Halo Call of Duty, then they make Halo Titanfall, now they want to do Halo Overwatch, and they're like, wait, uh we fucked up.
And I'm not sure if it's just with like game development nowadays, it's just a dick measuring contest, but you don't need to one up another studio or another publisher and their titles with, oh, this promise and that promise, and we got to make things prettier than this game. Like the game can look like a PS2 game as long as it's like having us hooked in and everything, as long as it keeps us invested, we probably won't care. There will be those
Yeah,
people that nitpick that say, "Oh, next gen games are looking like this, lame." But like a good game outweighs all the like cosmetic of it.
right. Like, or and that's why a lot of older games are so much more fun too. um it's like these old games, they're like you enjoy them. Like it's why a lot of Western developers have been hating Elden Ring, because it doesn't look too fancy. It looks good, but it doesn't look too fancy. Like it kind of looks like a slightly upscaled version of Dark Souls 3 of all things. And you can see, and if you play it, you can see a lot of like reused animations from like Dark Souls 3 or even like Bloodborne or Dark Souls 2, which is made by like FromSoft's B team, but it's still, people still get more of a kick out of it. And what uh it's like, even if it has no, oh yeah, and even has some reused assets that were cut from Dark Souls 3. Like there's a boss that's a giant wolf with like a sword, and apparently that was taken from a cut boss from Dark Souls 3 that was kind of just turned into an NPC that you can just give items to. It's like they were able to reuse stuff that they couldn't use before, and even when you look at stuff in Souls games, it's like it looks slightly dated or like really jank because of the fact that like most cases characters don't talk. When they talk, they don't lip sync at all. It's like they just have a solid face. but or there's just really weird, just like weird character models. Like Bloodborne has really weird character models. The characters have really long fingers and really lanky proportions. Like they're just like they're almost stick figures in real life, but it doesn't affect the game. It's fun. It's still fun and engaging, and it doesn't matter how old it is. Even the fact that if Bloodborne on a PS4 only runs at a locked 30 FPS with no anti-aliasing at all.
We're in a bad place with gaming when games from like half a decade or even a decade ago are funner than these big titles that you're spending full 60 on.
Now 70, because you have to now pay $70 for a full price AAA game.
Not saying any names. We're paying $70 for a texture pack, let's be honest.
Mm-hmm. Paying $70 just for a one-to-one recreation of a certain game that was already pushing pushing an old gen console to its limits.
And then we got games like the Destroy All Humans series, and yeah, they're using like the old audio, the original audio and stuff, but at least it's cleaned up and stuff, and actually, there's
Yeah,
changes. It's
yeah.
$40.
Um. Also, speaking of fellow greedy ass game companies like Activision, I can't believe the fact that they couldn't commit to Vanguard long enough to have a sixth season like Cold War and Modern Warfare. They just straight up says like, "Oh yeah, season 5, last one, and we're going all out with this story. We're bringing in characters that don't have any correlation to anything that Sledgehammer has made. They're just from other game companies, like 2 Infinity Ward villains and 2 Treyarch villains."
Let's cross over with Terminator. Let's have Godzilla and King Kong fight in our story.
Fight, quote unquote, even though they don't do that at all in the because I played the Godzilla event, and like all they do is just kind of stand around and like kind of like destroy stuff, and then they'll move to another location. Like Godzilla just stays at the shore, and then he'll just swim to another area, and then King Kong will just stand in one area, throw rocks. He'll just throw giant rocks at random places, and then he'll jump and go into another part of the map. Sometimes inside the gas. So when you're trying to do the challenge where you have to deal a certain amount of damage, and it's like I can't even get a good sightline on him because of this fucking mountain in between me and King Kong.
And so they're essentially just giant bullet sponges then.
Yeah, they're giant bullet sponges that could occasionally harm you because King Kong could just beat your head with a rock, or Godzilla would just atomic breath you, and that's it.
The worst.
And it's still PvP because it goes off of resurgence rules where if you die you could respawn if the rest of your team is there. But that's the thing, you're still fighting other players while also trying to deal damage to these giants. It's like, why couldn't you make it? Apparently they got backlash from the Vanguard reveal event where everyone was all on the same side, and all you had to do was just shoot this train that was moving on the train tracks in Verdansk. It was all just that. You were just shooting at this train, and all to just have a special cutscene and then reveal Vanguard. But it's like, you could have at least made it like Clash, which is just literally a TDM with two sides all on one area of the map, and then you could have like one side like be for King Kong and the other side for Godzilla, and so that one team, the team that takes out the other side's like Titan or whatever, could get the more score or whatever. But no, still had to make it PvP in some way. So it's like, oh, I'm trying to do a challenge, but this whole team just comes over and wipes me out, all because we still have to fight each other. And
The
then
worst COD player could like the worst COD player could with how you described them acting in the game mode. The worst COD player could be playing like we could take his total kills over the span of a game's life cycle, and he'd have more than these two, like giants of
yeah,
enemies, so-called enemies on the map.
mm-hmm. And it's like, oh yeah, they somehow had to put the Terminator. And again, instead of paying any effort like they did with Ghostface by having the actor actually do original stuff, they just pull voice lines from the movies and just put those in. And just like with Rambo and John McClane, where it's just you could still hear like the movie audio along with the dialogue when they talk, so it just sounds really uncanny.
Don't you
And
have let's like don't you have sound departments for this exact thing?
yeah, it's like, oh yeah, they you couldn't get the actors to come in and do voice lines, ex, for this game, but like it could have made it worth the $20, but they're just like, nah. Not only that, but there's also they literally just have quips or other lines that are just the other operators with a voice filter to make it look like the Terminator or the T-800 or the T-1000 is just mimicking. So you'll hear like fucking Kingsley say something with like a robotic filter, and then their subtitle says that's the T-1000 saying it. It's like, why? It's like, yeah, we know they can do the voice mimicry thing, but like that's like low effort. And then with this, they're with season 5, they're like, oh, okay, let's have Raul Menendez, Khaled Al Assad, Gabriel Rourke, and Seraph, of all people, be the main focus. And let's also bring in the fucking laser gun from Advanced Warfare, because yeah, we totally need that. And the fucking not the TAR 21, the F-2000 assault rifle. Let's put those in Vanguard. It's like, huh, we have these two characters that are from Treyarch's titles. We could do a little cross thing where if you buy it in Warzone, you could use it in Cold War because because they're both from Black Ops. But no. Oh yeah, Khaled Al Assad, literally the main antagonist that's behind the first iteration of Warzone. Literally, it was him and the Alcatala that set up the gas that takes over Verdansk. But you can only play as him in Vanguard.
Let's also not forget to mention it's Black Ops 2 Menendez.
Yeah, literally the 2025 Menendez, which puts him closer to Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2, and not Cold War. Like, you could have had like the young two-eyed Menendez that because if they're gonna play around with the operators and in a matter of like canon, like literally the first skin for Weaver is Weaver from the past, from Black Ops 1, when he lost his eye, so he's in that like Spetsnaz disguise uniform. And then you have a skin for Hudson where he's on Rebirth Island, so he's in the hazmat suit. And then what else? Oh yeah, and they have both Park and Lazar. And wasn't the thing in Cold War's campaign is that you had to pick between one?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so by having Park be a base character in the multiplayer, that's like, oh, okay, so in canon, Park survived and Lazar didn't. Oh, let's just put Lazar in the multiplayer later on as a operator a bundle.
At the end of the game's life cycle.
Yeah. So they could so if that's how much they cared, they could have just had, oh yeah, let's have an operator for Bowman, even though, he's dead, and also we probably couldn't be able to afford Ice Cube anymore, but no, yeah. So
But
even
hey,
if then they could have, because there's the map cartel. That's literally a map for the Menendez cartel, which has a portrait of Menendez himself, and and there's a whole kind of side, like a side story relating to Menendez's father. I think it was Black Ops Declassified, which is just a PS Vita port with like its own like kind of special missions, whatever. One of them being you assassinate his father, and you could have had young Menendez in, but no, let's just have 2025 Menendez running around with a laser gun from another completely different timeline, as well as using World War II guns with these World War II characters. Let's also have this terrorist who's from 2019 to 2020 and all that. Let's have him in there as well, and then let's have this other guy that has nothing to do with it, because they have yet to confirm anything about Ghost being related to any of these other games. And then Seraph, who's just from way far into the future.
you know they're gonna try to save face somehow in the future by trying to shoehorn in, oh yeah, time travel or some way is able to bring these guys that don't exist yet or weren't born yet or
Yeah,
are from a different time entirely. We somehow
yeah,
managed to replicate them into the past. Kind of how with the Black Ops 4 like side little intel things where it's like, oh yeah, we made a clone of Menendez and Woods and them.
yeah. And it's like, why? All it is just to justify the quote unquote story of Blackout, which it doesn't make any sense.
Just 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 you could have straight up said, "Oh yeah, it's just a simulation." That's it.
It Yeah, simulation, or because at least COD Mobile tries to do with what it has. It tries to make do by having, it's like, oh yeah, these characters from different timelines, they're just meeting together and joining forces, because it's a story for a mobile game, so you don't have to like believe it too much, because you have the reboot Captain Price with the old timeline Ghost, along with Adler, and you have the Zombies crew, um, as well, and like I think some of the Advanced Warfare stuff. It's like you have a crazy story with that, but it's contained just within the mobile game. With this, they're trying to say that, oh yeah, after World War II, Nazis escaped, so this task force of the World War II Avengers got together to try to hunt down the rest of the Nazis. Somehow somehow also started to infight over Nazi gold, um, which then leads up to, because the story is supposed to come up to the 70s, which is to explain why, like 10 years later, Butcher is still out there like looking for Nazis for some reason. Hence why he's in that bunker in Verdansk, where Mason Woods, Hudson, and Adler find him. And they're trying to say that same Verdansk gets destroyed, gets rebuilt after the Cold War, which Nikolai literally says in Modern Warfare. Literally, the opening cutscene for Spec Ops, which is also like kind of the end credits for Modern Warfare 2019, which it's a bizarre fucking rabbit hole. It really is, because it starts out as just a grounded story for Modern Warfare, because Spec Ops is literally a prequel to Warzone, because it takes place inside of Verdansk. And then Verdansk's story is like, oh yeah, we're trying to hunt down this terrorist, and all of a sudden a lot of infighting happens. The reason why people start shooting each other, even if they're supposed to be on the same team, like the Coalition and the Allegiance, is because Al-Assad and also Zakayev, Victor Zakayev, because Imran Zakayev died of a heart attack, so he's not involved in that story. But Zakayev and Al-Assad basically arranged this infighting where a lot of people would start pointing fingers at each other, saying that like they know they're behind this, or they know, or whatever. So everyone starts shooting at each other, and there was this whole intel stuff that you could find that gives you story details, which leads up to that final cutscene we got where where Zakhaev's about to launch missiles that were inside of silos built underneath Verdansk. Price goes in, kills him, and then and that's that. And we have Task Force 141 together, and then we hear Soap, and he says that there's something going on at the shore. What happens next? Zombies, because it's part of Cold War's timeline now. And then guess what? We have to nuke Verdansk, and then we get the Cold War timeline where oh yeah, we gotta go find Adler. He's in Verdansk. The Stitch took him to Verdansk. We gotta go get him. And then all of a sudden, Adler somehow planted a bunch of bombs underneath Verdansk, set it off, and like destroyed half of it, which leads them to finding the bunker. But it's like, when are you going to show some restraint on this story? Because I'm pretty sure Modern Warfare 2, when that comes out, is going to be like, it's like, oh yeah, we killed Zakhaev, and then we just kind of moved on to the next mission, which is going to be probably like stuff to do with Sicarios or whatever, some guy from Iran that's doing stuff. It's kind of it's that. So there's not going to be any acknowledgement of Verdansk at all. So it's like, what's the point? You tried to
It's
say
the
that zombies that time traveled from the past are now came up in 2020 or something like that, and then you had to nuke a whole city that was already plagued by soldiers fighting each other and gas.
maybe that's how Menendez and them are here. Time traveling ship with zombies.
Mm, I
What if
just
it's just the COD CU, the Call of Duty Cinematic Universe, and they just what if in Modern Warfare Roman numeral 2 they just retcon all that and what Soap meant by there's something going on at the shore, they're just going to retcon and say, "Oh, this happened," and they just forget like that's an alternate universe.
I have no idea. I have no fucking clue. Whatever pack they're smoking over at Raven Software or Infinity Ward or Treyarch, I have no idea.
Speaking of Activision, with their recent acquirement of Blizzard and all that, they decided if the game wasn't ruined enough, let's ruin Overwatch. So,
Yes.
with the reveal of the battle pass and everything and like their whole blog post, people are up in arms cuz there's a mention of like it sounds fine on paper, but when you get into the nitty-gritty and then you read in the fine lines where they say like, "Oh, the For You shop bundles weekly." What does that remind you of? Bundles weekly.
Hmm.
We got this new currency in the game, but and we got bundles of skins for your heroes that you play on rotation. Gee,
On
if I
rotation. On rotation?
yeah, the apparently it's catered to the heroes you play the most.
Bruh.
It's kind of like Fortnite where there's the weekly thing, there's like a monthly thing, then there's like daily rotation. I think the daily rotation will be like, oh, if you didn't get this in the past, it's here now, but it's going to rotate in a day, and then so forth. But just the mention of like a new shop in game, bundles of skins that probably won't normally be available to be earned in game. I'm like, gee, if I enjoyed paying $20 for one character or a skin in this game, what makes you think I'll enjoy paying 20 more dollars for a skin in this game? Oh yeah,
Bruh.
Activision.
They just want money.
Hello, I like money. It's literally the Krusty Krab 2 situation with Overwatch, with how there's just, oh yeah, new, like, with that, it's just like, oh yeah, there's a new location right to next to the original. But with this one, it's like, oh yeah, the original, guess what? It's gone. If you liked it, guess what? Tough luck. Move
It's
on and
gone.
consume our products.
Gone. Reduced to atoms.
What happened to Overwatch? Gone. Reduced to atoms.
Good.
I used the I used the balance to bring balance. And it shows 5v5, so you have to drop your friend.
Yep. Like whole teams. I mean, I'm not big on esports. I have a respect for it because of how far it's come these past few years, but I do dislike how much of an impact it's had on gaming because now all developers care about is how competitive can they make the game, how much can they cater towards the pros,
Yeah,
and how
all these
much emphasis,
influencers.
yeah, um how much of an impact these small group of players have on the greater game, but and I already lost what I was gonna say. No, yeah, no, but I still have a respect for it. Because it's somewhat basically seen as a sport now. But
Yeah.
imagine, I just can't imagine like how these pro teams would be feeling, where they have a full roster, and then it's like, wait, now we have to take one person off at a time, for these events, for these tournaments and stuff, because they reduced the amount of players.
It's like sorry this big team. Now we have the where we were playing a game where it's 6v6, guess what? We got to drop one of you guys, so it's going to be even more switching.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, we got to drop the person who plays the second tank.
And now now this one person's got to pick up the slack of being the only tank.
Right. It's like I just don't understand Overwatch really, because was the point of it to be a competitive game?
I feel like that's exactly what they're thinking, but they're just passing it off as, oh yeah, this big ol' ever-changing game with all these characters. They're so diverse. But
Yes.
in the back of the higher ups' minds, they're like, wait, wait, you could make an esport out of this.
Yeah. You can no, they're like, wait, you can monetize this.
Wait, you could make a religion out of this.
It's like it's like, are you a religious person? I want to show you my religion. What's your religion? And it's like and it's like a Winston meme or Tracer's ass or something like that, and it's like, I'm interested.
Roadhog's 8-inch Punisher.
You can make a religion out of this.
These discussions just you know, add fuel not add fuel to the fire. What's the word I'm looking for? It just doesn't guarantee. It entices us to take a deep dive into a custom, like our own custom made Halo, Overwatch, and Call of Duty icebergs. Because there's a lot of stuff we need to, like, people will not know. Or
Yeah.
who knows? They probably like, the funny gun guy and the pig man are speaking about game again.
Yeah. Oh, games, man. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that are just gonna say like, "Oh, why don't you go play a different game? Why don't you, um, why don't you just go play something else? Why don't you?" It's like, this is Malder. We're here to mauld, okay? We're just
And that,
here.
yeah,
And you're in why are if you're tired, and if you're tired of hearing us complain about stuff, why are you here? All right?
that just brings us back around to the beginning. Why don't you play a different game? Oh, go play something else. Why are you playing it then? There's nothing else to play that's fun. Games aren't fun anymore. All these things coming out aren't fun. You got to go back. And when you do, it's like, all right, it's so fun. You do everything in the game and you're like, what's left?
Yeah. Yeah, you could go back and play older games that you used to enjoy, and sometimes it'll be either you play that and then you do everything, and it's like, wait, what do I do next? Or sometimes you might have looked at a certain game with rose tinted glasses, and realized, oh, this wasn't as fun as I used to play it, or oh, was it really this hard when I was playing it?
And like, yeah, I could go platinum DMC5, which I'm trying to do, but I've already beat the game like 6 times. Like,
And there's also the case of just burnout too.
you don't want to play the same, like, you don't want to play this old game every day because you're gonna burn out, and whenever that burnout happens, you're probably gonna get sick of it, despite you might not even have beaten it yet again.
Yeah, which in some cases maybe just touch grass, go
Yeah,
take a walk,
touch
go to
grass.
the park, go take a drive, take a hike, go camping.
Go look at yourself in the mirror.
Yeah, go write down on a piece of paper, title it your life, and then just think it over.
What I'm trying to get at is, yeah, you can do that and play something else, but in the end, it's just gonna bring you back in because you'll eventually, if it's a multiplayer game, someone's gonna ask you to play it with them, or you're gonna want to play it to see if you're gonna have a good day. But guess what? It's just a never ending.
Yeah. And you know what? Yeah, I am tired of being negative towards things all the time. I get that. And and sometimes you do have to just change your mindset on something or change the way that you look at something so that you're not always feeling so negative towards something, and try your best to look at the positives.
If
Um
there is any.
if there is any, but try to make do with what you do have, you know?
Yeah, yeah, Vanguard does suck from like all these standpoints with story and this mode, but hey, give its multiplayer a try sometime. It may be a bit jank in like presentation, but it's fun, like from a gameplay standpoint.
Yeah. Or play something that you can play with your friends and just not worry about, the contents of it. Like, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but go play Fortnite.
Go play a game that's like you can play competitive games all you want with your friends, but don't play one that's literally has a whole esport around it with tryhards.
Yeah.
Play a casual competitive like Fortnite where you're just like, "Oh, we didn't get first. Oh well." Not
Or don't play something that has skill based matchmaking ingrained into it.
oh, you lost the game. Guess what? Your rank's gonna go down this much. Haha, try again.
Yeah. Or, oh hey, you were able you popped off that one game and you went positive. All right. You're going to you're gonna go in and go up against the next phase now.
Uh, yeah, yeah. It's well, I like how like we gave all these tips. The show named Malder ends on a positive note at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So go take that camping trip. Summer's still you know, summer. I mean, you may be back. Maybe you're already back in school or something like that. But you know what? Go take the weekend and just go. Return to nature for a little bit. Breathe in some oxygen, and so yeah. This video has been sponsored by